Saw go down in the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial, it's pretty easy to understand why so many people not only dislike Amber Heard, but also don't trust her. We saw her lie time and time again about Johnny Depp, all in an effort to destroy his career. And ironically, hers is the one that ended up being...
Is Amber Heard part of Aquaman 2? Amber Heard was recently confirmed to be in the movie Aquaman 2. The actress's involvement in the movie was reportedly confirmed when Warner Brothers, April 25th, apparently in the trailer, Amber, who auditioned for the role in...
Things have just gotten a lot worse for both James Gunn and DC, given that Amber Heard has now come forward with new accusations against the director of Aquaman, Jason Momoa himself, and the whole companies. It doesn't take a genius to realize that DC and their new DQ are a complete disaster, but things have just gotten a lot worse for both James Gunn and DC. Today, you are on the Celeb Culture channel, and we will talk about the fact that Amber Heard will be excluded from the Aquaman 2 movie because she claimed that Jason Momoa was trying to get her fired and appeared intoxicated while she was working. She was fired. In addition to this, dressing up as Johnny Depp is a great source of laughter. But when you actually know how Jason Momoa dresses on a daily basis, it doesn't seem like he's trying to dress up like Johnny Depp. In fact, he's just dressing very much like Johnny Depp from the very beginning. This makes it seem less like he's trying to imitate Johnny Depp and more like he's just trying to dress like him. However, she further asserted that Warner Brothers and DC were attempting to eliminate her role on the show entirely. The sequel, which they published and then completely refuted, stating that she never had a big role in the film from the very beginning, and that this time, the film will always be more focused on Jason Momoa. They also stated that even before the Johnny Depp trial, Amber Heard was never going to have a big role in it. Really? Not only that, but she also dragged Elon Musk into the story, which is a shocking turn of events, as it is reported that Elon Musk actually threatened Warner Bros. On behalf of Amber Heard. Not only that, but she also dragged Elon Musk into this story. And I have no idea what kind of dirt Amber Heard must have on Elon Musk. I can't even begin to imagine it. In order to make him care about whether or not she will star in this movie, because I seriously doubt that Elon Musk even cares about whether or not Amber Heard will star in Aquaman 2, which is why it is important to convince him that he should care. But now, Warner Bros. And the District of Columbia have retaliated by attacking Amber Heard, saying that Jason Momoa was none other than James Gunn is leading the charge here, and that she would never have a big role in the film, and that it was she who created problems and spread absolute lies about Aquaman 2 and the entire DC Studios company? Is this man crazy? Because all of this just completely throws Aquaman and DC back because they were already struggling to make a profit, and they did a lot on this Aquaman 2 movie, given the fact that the first Aquaman actually made $1 billion at the box office. Now, I have no idea why this movie was a success from the very beginning because I really hated that first movie and thought it was a pathetic, terrible mess. However, many people went to the cinema to support him, and many fans really liked this movie, so they expected that this sequel would bring a huge amount of money at the box office. But due to the fact that all this drama is now unfolding around Amber Heard, and the fact that she was caught lying in court against Johnny Depp, there has been a massive movement to boycott the sequel, and they fear that this film may not even come close to breaking even, and in fact the District of Columbia may lose hundreds of millions of dollars. And given the fact that Amber Heard is now coming out and making new accusations against Jason Momoa himself and the entire crew behind this film, they probably fear that there will be such a huge negative rhetoric around this film that he may lose even more money than they initially thought. And not only that, critics also rejected early screenings of this movie because it was so bad, and also leaked some reviews about the early screening of this movie, which said that this movie absolutely sucks and is one of the worst DC movies to date. And that's saying something because DC didn't actually make that many great movies, and the only good DC movies they were able to release were movies that weren't tied to the DQ or the DC Extended Universe, as it used to be called. And they've had some really bad movies, and if this movie is called one of the worst to date, I can't even imagine how bad this movie really is. And because of all these negative conversations around this movie, it's hard to imagine that this movie makes any money at all at the box office, which is very sad because after Aquaman 2, DC didn't say anything. It is intended that it looks like this will bring the company closer to break even and bring any profit to their company in the near future, because when you look at their upcoming films and you pay attention to the fact that they have announced that Blue Beetle will be the first hero fixed in their new DQ, and is the only hero announced that it will definitely be in the future of DC moving forward, which really shows the sad state that DC is in, because Blue Beetle, although it was not the worst movie in the world and received good reviews, did not make money at the box office. considering the fact that no one really knows who this hero is in pop culture and in everyday life, this thing is called the Black Wolf.
Besides all the fun of bitching about what a flop this is going to be, admittedly, I did feel bad for one guy involved in the Aquaman scandal who recently had to come out and speak out about all these Aquaman 2 rumors floating around that were started by none other than...
There should be characters in this movie that really excite people, and DC is building their entire future on a bunch of characters that no one has even heard of, played by actors that no one has heard of either. And so I can imagine there's a lot of disagreement right now between James Gunn and other DC studio executives due to the fact that they probably don't want to break even with any of their films in the future and seem to be in a really bad financial position. And in many ways, this is their own fault. And in many ways, because of the discourse that is happening in Washington right now, where they clearly do not have a clear vision of how they want to move in the future, because they seem to make such hasty and split actions and repeat decisions over and over again. This leads to an even greater decline of the company. And they've also hired actors like Amber Heard, who are well known for spreading lies, false information, and voicing their opinions, no matter how crazy or poisonous they may be. So DC clearly has a lot of issues they need to sort out, and it all starts with the people they hire to shoot their films. And it starts with the fact that all studio executives really get together and have a clear vision plan for the future. However, it seems that this is not the case, because DC has never found its footing and has not found its voice. When it comes to the films, DC had a better chance of making better films than Marvel because their characters were much better. They had much more nuances. However, they were never able to capitalize on the fact that they had the best heroes due to the fact that their stories were completely lame. Whereas in DC, they never really had a clear vision or a clear voice because they were constantly changing it, and they were either copying the McHugh or trying to move in a direction that didn't work because it was just such a random and reckless decision. And they were never able to create films and characters that people genuinely wanted to see because, none of us wanted to see Noah Sentinel in. And now they have to deal with this madman from Amber Heard, who creates even more problems for the company. And in a way, I feel sorry for James Gunn because since he took over as head of DC, he had to deal with all the problems and consequences of decisions made at the studio, even before he got there. And he has yet to take creative control in any of their films that they have released. And I don't think he will have a film that he had clear creative control over, at the earliest, maybe until 2025. And this is because, by that time, the fact is that the superhero genre will be completely and irrevocably dead. And say what you want about the current state of the McHugh, but at least they had a great time at the top, and at least they've been releasing great movies for almost a decade, while the Deku has never been able to fully gain a foothold and has never really released a movie which everyone could cling to. But what do you think about the Amber Heard situation? Let me know below in the comments if you liked the video. Please click the like button, click the subscribe button, and I will see you all in my next video.